Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. This is the body of the AZU and I'm going to start the welder procedure of this one. Quick disclaimer, this is not a full restoration. We want to keep the wear and the patina on this car as much as possible, so it will be patches rather than panels. I'm looking at this one at the moment and it's in pretty poor state, but the outside, the side that you can actually see, looks pretty. So I really hope to be able to fix the inside structure of it, because if I change this, we need to paint that part of it and it will be very difficult to make it fit the rest of the car. It might be a bit too much, but we'll see. But what I want to focus on right now is the rust in here, because we want to put in new floors. They are right over here. And this needs a ledge around the edges to rest and be welded onto. Those are gone now because of rust, of course. So what I want to do is to cut the rusty areas out and make patches. Let me bring you in a little bit closer and show you the amount of work needed. As you can see, it looks pretty brilliant out here. No big rust holes, except up here we need to do some welding there. The problem comes on the inside because it needs to be welded to this part of it, and we got some rust issues. But I'm gonna start by this down here. This edge is also rusty. To be honest, one way to fix it would be to remove the entire plate down here by drilling out the spot welds and weld in another part. But in the philosophy of trying to save as much of the original car, I'm gonna say that it's all right around this area. I'm just gonna clean it up though. And then I'm gonna fix this area, and then I'm gonna fix this area. But to begin with, I'm just gonna clean up. Change of plans, I'm going to change it all. It is thin. But I don't have any piece of metal long enough, so I'm going to make it in 2 sections. And I don't want to mess with this in here, that seems fine. So I'm going to cut it right there and then make a repair panel going to around here. I'm just checking that the support that I made to hold all of this will support it even if I remove this. And it looks to be just fine to remove. So what I'm going to do is to drill out the spot welds and then remove this entire panel. I'm just going to go ahead and cut the spot welds, or drill some of them maybe. I'm just trying to avoid grinding too much on the plate that I have to weld on, because it's thin, and it's thin originally. So it doesn't need a lot of rust before it becomes a big problem. But I'm going to do this off camera, because this is going to be a little bit boring and tedious. It is a dirty job, but somebody has to do it. I have removed a lot of material. I still need to remove a lot more. This ledge in here I can work with, and that's really great. It's not perfect, but I can work with it. I need to do some small repairs right there. But it turned out that this ledge out here it's not worth it to try to reuse that. It is so thin. So the way that I have decided to fix this is like this. Let me show you. What I'm going to do is to make a ledge right here. I'm not sure what the correct name for that is in English, but I'm gonna make a recess in this panel that makes it possible to put a new panel on that and weld that on, so that there is an overlap. Normally I dislike doing overlaps, but a 2CV metal thickness is between 1.5 and 1.7. It's very thin. It's very difficult to weld edge to edge that I normally do. It will burn through very easy. It will also be difficult to grind it down without removing too much material. Even though this is a visible area, it's not a very visible area. The chair will be here. So it's, yeah. So what I have decided to do is to make that ledge and then make a panel. I already bended one right here. It just needs to be cut down to shape. And then put that into the recess and weld it. And I'm gonna do that all across. I just don't have a long enough piece, unfortunately. But so what I'm gonna do now is to just cut this down to size and start to make that recess. And then weld in the material. But there's one other thing that I would like to show, because I get asked quite often how I paint the backside when I weld stuff. You can paint it before you weld in the panel, of course, but it will burn off some of it. But actually, in a box section like this, it doesn't rust as much as you might expect. As long as it's dry in there and it's ventilated and so on, it actually won't rust as much as you expect. And take a look at this. There's surface rust, but that up there is bare metal. It's completely bare. There is no paint on it. There is nothing on it. And this car is from 1956. So this is the amount of rust in 70 years on a non-painted surface. I just wanted to show you that. So don't panic if you can't paint it in there. Just make sure that it doesn't get too much air. And I'm almost tempted to say light, but I don't think light will matter. But air and moisture is what make rust come really quickly. But I'm going to start cutting this out into shape and start to make that recess. And then with this pretty low quality piece of tool that I have, I'm going to make that ledge. Don't know if you can see it, but it makes a recess right there. Can you see how thin it is? It is almost like aluminum foil. So welding like I normally do will be so difficult and probably not worth my time, to be honest, to do at an area like this. I just realized that I have this one. Do you know that? When you forget that you actually did buy another tool once, when you were annoyed with the other one, and then forgets it. I was just over there looking for welding pliers, and then this one was lying there. It's way better. The other one was hard to use, and it also made the recess a little bit too shallow, actually. This is better. Yes, I do know it's a bit rusty over here, and I might cut that area out later. Right now I just want to add some material back in. So this one should be ready. I made a little cut there because I couldn't make the recess in that panel because it's welded to this one. So I'm gonna edge weld around that area, and then that should be good. Firstly, I will need to fix the cut that I made in this panel and then weld. Let's get the welder. There we go. Should be ready to go now. There we go. I'm going to start welding. So that's pretty decent. So there we go. This is the standard that I'm going to do it to. And I'm not going to grind it more down than this because the material is so thin. So just removing the paint makes me nervous that it will be strong enough. But I will give it a light skim of filler because the inside of the van will most likely be painted anyway. Not the outside, but the inside. So this will be just fine. I'm going to continue with doing this until everything is new metal, at least the lower part of it. You might notice this. I'm not really sure what this is for, other than there is a hole right here that attaches to the frame. So most likely it's just a reinforcement plate, but I'm not sure why there is a hole in there. So I will probably just redo that. As you can see, I made a line right there indicating where it is. so I can make it later on. So this is it for now. I'm just gonna let that rest for a bit. I still need to make the bottom plate and make a fix up there. But what I'm going to focus on is to try to fix the rocker or sill. As mentioned, it would be a lot easier to just change the whole thing, but because of the outside, I'm going to try to fix it. I might end up having to do some welding on the outside also, but still it would look more in place to be old and banged up, and it will be the original car. But I'm going to try to cut out what I need to cut out and see what's left of it, and then bring you back, and hopefully we can just make it up of a lot of parts. I'm going to start by trying to see what's what in this area. So just to make sure that it doesn't collapse completely, I welded in a bar right there, because this one is pretty much not existent anymore, and when I start cutting in it, it will be even worse. But take a look at this, it's not even connected up there, it's stress cracked right there, needs to be re-welded. It's not, I just put it in to keep it in there. It will not keep it from swaying from side to side, but it has probably done that a million times already because it's been like this for a long time. So I'm just going to make sure that everything seems fine on the fitment side when I put it back together. On the rust repairs in here, I had hoped to just fix this part of it, the lower part of it, and weld it to this. But unfortunately, this panel inside here is very, very thin in places. So what I think I'm going to do is to cut that and cut this, and then make a small repair panel that overlaps into this panel and is welded on the inside and with the latch, and then weld this one outside on the outside afterwards. So I'm going to take you back when I have cut all that stuff away, and then we're going to take a look at it. So this is where we are at now. A lot of material has been removed. I've cut away most of the small panel down there that I showed you, and I cut away the inner part of the sill. The inside is rusty, and again, take a look at this. It's untreated metal, so it's amazing that it's this good of a condition. That's completely mind-boggling. This is the amount of stuff that I will remove, at least for now. I'm actually going that far to try to preserve a dent like this, because I think it's fun to keep the exterior. What I have done now is that I made this piece, which I want to weld in with an overlap pretty much like this, and I'm going to do that now. And then when that is in place, then I'm going to make this piece, and I have already now made a ledge or flange or whatever that is called right there to weld it in. And I'm not going to fully weld this, it's just going to be spot welded, and then a layer of filler. But I'm going to weld this piece in now and then take you back. So I just painted and welded it up. As you can see, it's not fully welded at all like I did over here, because it just doesn't make sense, I think. It's just spot welded. So next time I'm going to weld the outer plate on, and then hopefully this will be sorted. And then of course it needs to be sealed and painted out here. But as you can see, the main objective is to keep that looking like that. And so far so good. There is a couple of welds going through, but that won't mess it up too much. The big challenge is going to be up here. That I won't tackle in this video, but I will fix the rest of this. And the next bit is going to be this. Something like that. I'm gonna start welding and then take you back when it's done. So this is it. As you can see, it's just spot welded down the line, and really, yeah, it went a bit quickly, but it's gonna be fine. It's gonna get a light coat of filler, and then it should be just fine. It's the outside here. There's a fighter jet coming over us. It's the outside that really matters, and I'm really happy with this result. You can see the weld going through right there, and of course you can see the new metal down here, but other than that, the appearance is completely the same. Of course, there's still this area and the end of the sill that I need to fix, but I will do that later on. This is going to be all for now. I'm really happy about the lower panel. This I could have been a bit more careful about. I'm gonna end this video right here. If this video gets a decent amount of views and you like it, I might make some more videos like this of just some progress on the rust repair. Otherwise, I will just do some off camera because I think it will be a little bit tedious to watch. I don't know. Anyway, progress is made on the AZU and that's great. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.